Hi lovelies, I'm Queen Lovely of Melanated Crowns, activating your divine femininity, and today this video will be in regards to MegTheeStallion and Kelsey and their fallout. Before we get into this video, please be sure to subscribe to this channel if you are just as committed as I am to helping Black women obtain and sustain their mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. And please enable and activate that notification bell so you can know when I post more videos such as this. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching in advance. So I wanted to come on here and talk about the situation between MegTheeStallion and Kelsey. And honestly, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to title this video or even how I'm going to approach this video. I just know there's a few points that I want to hit on. So we're just going to anoint this throat chakra right now. And I'm just going to ask that my most high self speaks through me. First and foremost, what I want to address in regards to MegTheeStallion is that when you are the common denominator in a series of low vibrational events that continuously happen to you, that means that God is trying to get your attention, and God wants you to hone in on a certain aspect of yourself and really pay that certain aspect of yourself some attention. It may be to nurture an aspect that's underdeveloped, that's going to be intricate to who you're supposed to be in this lifetime, or it's time for you to address this aspect and remedy it and take accountability for how this continues to perpetuate negativity in your day-to-day life. In my humble opinion, I honestly feel like MegTheeStallion is grieving. I feel like she is grieving a multitude of things. She is grieving the loss of her grandmother and her mother. And she is also grieving the loss of a life that she once had. Just because she now has access to a certain socioeconomic climate in which she can get anything that she needs, and it's just like right there because she's a millionaire and because of her notoriety in the public, that does not mean she's happy. We've heard this story time and time again. There's a lot of people that get fame and they get riches and they get wealth, but they're not happy. And some people even wish that they could go back to their day-to-day life where they didn't have to walk around with security and they could go grocery shopping or go to the park and grab coffee and not have a bunch of people running up to them and interrupting them while they're just trying to have a moment with themselves outside of this persona that the public falls in love with, which in her case would be MegTheeStallion, not, Megan, the regular girl, round the way in Houston that's, going to college and pursuing business. And on top of that, she just so happens to have a talent and a love for music and hip hop. So I feel like when it comes to MegTheeStallion, she, like most people, myself included, when you know that there's a problem happening in your life and there's something that you need to address, but you don't quite have the tools, you don't quite have the courage, you don't quite have the strength to begin to peel those layers back on that scab, you just continue to put a Band-Aid on it. Put a Band-Aid on it. Put a Band-Aid on it. You know what I mean? Even when you take the Band-Aid off to examine the bruise, examine the cut, examine the scab, you don't spend too much time with it because you just don't like what you see. You don't like what you feel. So you're like, you know what? Let me just put the Band-Aid back on. And I feel like for her, the Band-Aid is alcohol. I feel like it's partying. I feel like it's surrounding yourself around a ton of people on a day-to-day basis so you don't have to sit with yourself and so that your intuition and your discernment can't speak loudly to you. When we are by ourselves, those are intricate moments where God speaks the loudest. That's when we hear our higher self. That's where we hear our conscious. She is very intelligent. She is very educated. She's very intuitive. So I have no doubt in my mind that Meg is not aware of what's happening to her. There could be, some manipulation going on, and she could be a little naive. I mean, Meg is about 1 year older than me. I think she's about 26. I just turned 25. So, there's still a lot of lessons for us to be learned, right? What I fear for her is that by the time she truly comes to and she decides to take accountability and really see things for what it is, it may be too little too late for the mere factor that it's continuing to spiral out of control. Now, this is what I'm going to say about the situation with her and Kelsey. People outgrow each other all the time. And honestly, what I get is that those two had issues that we didn't even know about before this situation popped off. This happens all the time in friendships. Yeah, they may take pictures and be posted up and always be together. And I was told that Kelsey kind of quit her job and abandoned like her aspirations to help pour into Meg and her career aspirations. It was like her personal assistant, and they've been friends since younger. But you know, loyalty does have an expiration date, right? So I'm currently just addressing friendship and relationship dynamics and how they go through their ebbs and flows in day-to-day life. People fall out. People get tired of each other. It's very possible that Meg was doing stuff to get on Kelsey's nerves. It's very possible that Kelsey was doing things to get on Meg's nerves. And unfortunately, like in most situations, their relationship came to a head. But the way in which their relationship came to a head was in an extreme way because there was a gun involved. There's a whole case involved. You have social media. You have the media. This has been making headlines for months now. And it just so happens the friend in Kelsey's case in which she fell out with, in which they grew apart from, happens to be a well-liked mega superstar. So there's so many external factors that play into why this is bigger than what it really needs to be. Because once again, friends fall out all the time. Friends outgrow each other. That's just life. Now, the problem with this situation is how both of them are handling it. But I'm going to hone in on Megan. And see, the reason why I'm honing in on Megan, because just, you know, observing this from a spiritual eye and being a spiritual advisor, social worker, clearly she's grieving. Okay, clearly she does not have the tools to really hold herself accountable. Nobody's going to hold her accountable because that's just how it works. These people get famous, they get money, and you could literally buy blind loyalty. And yeah, it may seem like in hindsight that that's the right thing to do. Okay, nobody's going to call me out on my ish, so let me just have people around me that's just going to be my yes man and be my cheerleader. But when you're self-destructing and you don't have people around you that truly care about you, in the long run, she's going to regret that, because I'd rather have somebody around me that's going to tell me when I'm wrong and acknowledge me when I'm right, as opposed to someone who's going to let me self-destruct. And then when I don't have nothing to offer them anymore, they're going to be ghosts. And then you're going to have no choice but to sit by yourself. I'm praying and truly hoping that Meg gets to a place where she's able to stop herself in her tracks and just step off to the side and take about a good 21 days, okay? Read between the lines, 21 days to herself without the influence of, certain things, and, just really get her mind right. You can't be an advocate and say protect Black women. You're talking about it in your interviews. You did a whole performance on Saturday Night Live. You cannot be such a strong voice for protect Black women, but then turn around and do what you're doing to Kelsey in the public. You have your friends harassing her. You have your friends cyberbullying her. And then you went and made a diss track about her. It just it don't work that way. And I'm going to take it a step further, and a lot of people may not like this, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not here to be liked. The reality of the situation is this. People keep trying to blur the lines and talk out both sides of their mouths. Okay? People keep trying to blur the lines and talk out both sides of their mouths. Now, Meg makes sexually explicit music, which I have no problem with that. That music is supposed to be for adults, okay? Us adults need to do a better job at monitoring what the kids around us listen to. I don't have problems with people like Megan who make sexually explicit music. But to me, it's like, if you're going to make music about being a savage and y'all be promoting this city girl lifestyle about, fucking these niggas and catching licks and getting bags and doing all types of stuff. Now, that may sound good in theory, and I'm not judging any woman or man who lives that lifestyle. But nobody never talks about the consequences and the negatives to living a lifestyle where you are constantly putting yourself out there as you can basically do whatever it is you want to me. You can shit on me. You can have sex with multiple women. You can do this as long as you paying my bills, as long as you buying me a car, as long as you getting me a Birkin. Nobody never talks about that. I've seen that shit up close, okay? Up close. I used to have a friend who used to strip. And yeah, she was always dressed to the nines and she would hop out of cars and eat at nice restaurants. But there was also times where she would call me at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because she had a fight in the locker room of the strip club, or while she was dancing at Tiana Taylor's party, this girl threw a Hennessy bottle at her and cut her face. Or while she was having sex with a man, he ejaculated in her on purpose because he just wanted to. You know, stuff like that. I've even been in situations where I'm partying with dudes who have money and have jewelry, and I leave, and then I end up feeling bad about myself the next morning because I felt pressured into doing something, or I didn't feel respected. So everyone is different. Everyone has a different path to walk. And I respect it because I want my path to be respected. But this talking out both sides of your mouth, I'm a savage, I'm this, I'm that, but let's protect black women, but let's also perpetuate narratives about lifestyles that can be detrimental to black women. Because let's be honest, most black women who do sex work, who's doing the bottle girl, who's doing the stripping, they didn't want to do that. That's not the plan they had for themselves. They wanted to go to school. They wanted to be a kid and go to the playground. But unfortunately, somewhere along the way, the adults dropped the ball in their lifestyle and they ended up in situations where they had to do sex work, where they had to do stripping and do this and do that. Now, if you are a sex worker who volunteered yourself into that life, and that's something you really want to do, and it's not a means to an end, and you're passionate about it, I'm not talking about you. But most of these girls that we see up and down the gram and on OnlyFans, like a Sukiana, we got to stop perpetuating that. So the critique and the observations that I have about MegTheeStallion when it comes to the protect black women, you talking out both sides of your mouth because you want to talk about protect black women because it sounds cute and it's the trendy thing to do. But then in the same breath, you turn around and you have a whole lifestyle and a list of actions in which you're disregarding black women. And as a young black woman who has a soul mission to pour into black women, okay, on an emotional, mental, and spiritual front, that's a little annoying to me. But, you know, it just is what it is. When it comes to the situation with her and Kelsey, I truly do wish both of those young ladies the best. I'm going to advise that Kelsey gets off of social media. I don't know how she makes her money, but if you don't have to be on social media for work purposes, you need to just shut your social media down. One thing that I've learned is that when you go out into the real world, all of the back and forth that goes on these public forums do not exist. They do not exist. Unless you collide your personal life with your public forum and social media life, they don't exist. When you out on the street, ain't nobody gonna be running up on Kelsey. I mean, unless you got beef with folks in Houston, I don't know. But for the most part, ain't nobody gonna be walking up to you talking greasy. It's all internet. So Kelsey, I understand you feel like you're being bullied, sweetheart. I would just advise that you get off of social media for some time. As far as Megan, you need to watch your back. You need to watch your back because you don't have any real friends in that industry. And this is not me being mean. This is the truth. You don't have any real friends. And I get it. You may feel like you don't have a security blanket because your mom is no longer here. And, you're just doing the best to get by. But it's all going to catch up with you and it's going to come crashing down. So you can willingly lean into God and allow God to guide you, or you could continue to walk with the devil and have no choice for it to just come crashing down one day. And see, it's really sad to watch because you see these young women just get turned out right in front of your eyes. But because as a society, we are vibrating so low, they normalize this. They normalize the drinking every day and partying every day and dressing half naked 24/7 and bending over and shaking your butt 24/7. It's not that there's anything wrong with indulging in those things. The problem is too much of anything is never good for you. That's always been the saying. And there's no more balance. It's nothing wrong with having duality. It's nothing wrong with having versatility. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, and a nurse and still like to get down and drink Patron and do all of that. But it's just the way to go about doing it. And it's just like, as a society, y'all trying to get rid of the rules. And that is what I don't care for about Megan, is that she plays in to the bigger agenda to blur the lines. And it's not just her, it's all of these girls. Cardi B, all of them, they all play into it until it's not fun no more. And then a new girl comes along and then all of a sudden it's just like, And I can't help but think back to when Azealia Banks did her interview on The Breakfast Club and Charlamagne was like, well, what is your problem with Cardi B? And she's like, it's not even really a problem with Cardi B. It's the fact that we just were having all of these intellectual conversations about black women coming off the heels of Beyonce's Lemonade in 2016. And then Bodak Yellow comes out and this whole Cardi B movement. And it's just like, y'all just push that to the side. Why can't both of those things coexist at once? Why is there such an agenda to only push low vibrational energy? It's disgusting. It just is. Sukihana 1 year ago was crying about how she sold her soul to the devil. And then a year later, you're throwing up on a man's penis that lives in the same house with you. And instead of him getting up to go and get a job, he has you out there being slutted out all over the internet to where your kids could Google it. This is the society we living in. It's not my truth, and it don't need to be your truth, but this is the truth for some of these young ladies, and they try to glamorize it because there's money involved. No, ma'am. My God is not cars. It's not Birkin bags. It's not monies. It's not followers. It's not subscribers. My God is the Most High. So y'all make sure y'all walk with God and turn away from all of that nastiness. If you want to do it, that's your business. But if you are merely being tempted because you think it's going to lead to the end of the rainbow with a pot of gold, don't do it. And that's all I have to say. That's my 2 cents on this whole mess with MegTheeStallion and Kelsey and the Protect Black. I'm just kind of tired of it. Y'all could probably